What's up, guys? I'm going to be going over the May patch notes here for the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot. The first change here is gear crafting. This is a new thing that came out this patch. Basically, you can either craft or reforge items. Crafting is basically taking a bunch of, say, green items and turning them into one yellow item, or a bunch of yellow items turning them into one orange item, or whatever. So it basically takes a bunch of the lower things into the next highest tier. I think this is good for like exceptional and legendary items. I don't think people are going to be using it on common items or on magical items because you can buy exceptional, and most of them have decent enough stats where you should just buy them and not waste the money trying to craft things up. But for the other stuff, I think that's a really cool change. Reforge, rather, I actually think is probably the best thing to come out of this. Reforging is basically taking an item from the same quality and the same level, and it re-rolls the item type and the stats. So you could take something that, like, say for the runaway, and you don't own the runaway, you could take this like level 30 epic item, and you can reforge it to a different class and also have different stats. So you could also take, something that you don't like the stats on and change it into better stats. I'm not sure if you can take, like, say, an archer item and keep it as an archer item but just re-roll the stats. I'm not sure if you can do that, but it does allow you to use gold at the end game. It's a way that at level 30, when you've upgraded everything, there's nothing that you really spend gold on. You just kind of sit there with max gold. That used to be the problem that there was, and now in this case you're able to spend gold. Costs like 50,000 or 100,000, somewhere in that range, like 80,000, I don't know, to reforge level 30 epic items. I've already tried it once. It works. There's no saying that you're going to get better stats on the item that you reforge, but it's a cool little thing that they added. Like, this is basically the item level of both crafted and reforged items is dependent on the level of item used as components. So you can't take something that you found at like level 3, some like epic level 3 item, and try to turn it into a level 30 epic item. It's not going to work that way. They've lowered the inventory tab prices. This is basically the prices in blings. It's good for people who haven't maxed out their inventories yet, because you're going to want to hold on to more items. There's a need for inventory space now because of that. And then they changed some balance changes. I wouldn't really call this anything major. So basically the two things that they did is they made it so that health orbs drop less frequently, down 25% of the original value. So basically you can use creatures more often, because it used to be that traps were like much better than creatures, and you'd only have creatures so that they couldn't just run past traps, right? You would want to fight near traps, but you want a lot of traps because they don't drop health globes. So this, I guess, helps even that out a little bit. I still don't think it's... I mean, you have to drop health globes. I would prefer monster buffs rather than this, but I guess this just is an overall buff to all creatures. This doesn't mean that you're going to get anything new in terms of strategy. I think that creatures that were already good are still just going to be better than all of the other creatures. Like, if you're doing sustained damage, you're probably going to use Snare Master's level 28. You're not going to bring in something new because of the fact that these are dropping less frequently. There's no reason to use different creatures. So basically the strategies remain the same. It's just that traps are a little less good compared to creatures now, but they're still better, I think, in my opinion. So I don't see much changing in terms of this. And then they nerfed another strategy that people have been using, which is fire mines now have a smaller blast radius, which is basically they're the same as every other trap. So they were almost twice as big. They went down from 2.4 meters to 1.4 meters. So almost like a 50% decrease in the size of their blast radius, which is huge. I mean, it's a huge change. I don't think fire mines are going to be nearly as effective anymore. And I've already ran through a couple of castles with fire mine traps, and I haven't died to one of them, even when I get thrown into the middle of a bunch of fire mines. It just doesn't kill you anymore. So there's just not enough overlapping for them to actually kill you. And I have a feeling that this entire strategy is going to be nerfed into the ground. So it's basically another strategy that we don't have. This can be good or bad for certain people. A lot of people hate this strategy. It's just something that people did. I wish that they did something that would allow you to, buff some of the creatures that aren't being used, because that's the only thing that's going to bring in, new, healthier strategy, I guess, like just different things that people are doing. because right now you run through castles and they all have the basic same theme. Might be a couple fire mine traps, might be a couple spike tunnels, might be an all in the boss room strategy, and that's pretty much it. And then you have some flavor where there's like jelly wall into the springboards with some ballistas around it, and people just set it up slightly differently, but it all does the basically the same thing. And then I guess the new one would be the Pete Palmore in that small area that I've seen people use, the same as a Jimbo in that small area, but it's all basically the same. You don't see anything fancy with Hunger Bots or Scorpios anymore like you used to, or anything that's like comboing to set up other creatures to deal their damage. There's not really anything like that anymore, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's just how the game is right now. Hopefully we can get some more balance changes in the next update. I feel like I keep saying that for months now, that I'm waiting for more balance changes. But I guess this is a step in the right direction. It's just not really enough. And then there's some different stuff on like the welcome page. Upon logging in, you'll be greeted by an interactive news message, all without leaving the comfort of your castle. Keep an eye on the contents page because we'll be showcasing gear crafting. So I watched through this. It basically just explains what you can do. It's pretty intuitive either way. You can figure it out without watching that video. New content. There's some new epic weapons that are available. Haven't seen any of those yet, but we'll have to take a look and hopefully we can find some to show them off. We've added some new pets and costumes. I haven't looked at these yet, but it's not something that I get super excited about. I still am just waiting for balance changes and like just more creatures in general. I feel like they keep adding pets, they keep adding costumes, they keep adding stuff to the store, but they really need to add things that are fun to play with, mechanics to the game. They don't have, they could add more creatures, they could buff certain creatures that aren't being used. We just need more available to us that it can actually kill an attacker, I think. And then there's a bunch of new sounds. I'm not going to go over every one of these, just new content in the game. I mean, sounds are good, right? And then bug fixes are good as well. I'm not going to go over all of them. If you're interested, you can pause the video and read through them here, or you can go to the page and read through them yourself. But there's nothing really to say about these. They're just new sounds and bug fixes. So that's pretty much it for this patch. Again, waiting on balance changes. You guys can let me know what you think about this patch. I do really like the gear crafting. I think it's a nice addition. But I think it could have been down the road a little bit. I think there's other more pressing matters. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.